welcome back to another episode of our live seasons where we talk about the raw and honest truth to navigating through the different seasons of life. I'm your host Wen. If you've been loving the podcast episodes, do leave a review of this podcast on whichever platform that you're on and let me know which topics are your favorite. Yes, for those on the video version of this podcast, you can see that I'm back at my usual setup. I'm back at the comfort of my home after 2 weeks of living the NYC girly life. It was fun, and I hope you guys appreciated the last 2 episodes where I recorded it in a FaceTime style. Let me know what you think, because I honestly really do love recording the episodes just like as if we're talking on a FaceTime friend to friend type of thing. So I don't know if you guys love it. I love it, but just let me know. But that aside, today I'm feeling a little bit risky because I want to talk about a lot of the beliefs and teachings in the self-help space that I'm not necessarily like on board with. It's funny how I used to be someone who believes everything in like the self-help world, whereby whatever the life coach says, I would believe that, oh, it's the secret recipe, right? And take their quote-unquote secret recipe or success recipe and run with it, only to realize that there are quite a handful of concepts and teachings that can be quite harmful to your growth journey, and it puzzles me why no one is talking about it. So, of course, doing it the OLS way, here I am today opening up this topic, and I know it can be a hot take, but just bear with me, okay? I hope you're ready because, disclaimer, this episode might just require you to relearn all your beliefs and reprogram your mind, or even call out all the bullshit that you've been taught that is not allowing you to get to the roots of the challenges that you're facing. But I promise you, what I'm about to say will be a breath of fresh air that you wished you have discovered earlier. But it's okay. That's why I'm here. That's why we're here. Alright? So enough babbling. Let's get straight into it, shall we? So the first bullshit that I want to call out, and it's also one of the biggest traps I think we fall into as humans, and I mentioned about this concept briefly in episode 61, is toxic positivity. Okay, this is the idea that we should always be happy and optimistic no matter what happened, especially when we face situations that are not so pleasant. Our first reaction is to always look for positivity even when it's not there, and that often leads us, or this concept often leads us to pretending everything is always okay because we feel like we need to be okay, and that ends up and then we end up suppressing all our negative emotions when it's clearly affecting us. We just kind of push it aside, right? But while it's important to maintain a positive outlook on life, and I get that, but I feel like positive thinking isn't always a healthy approach to everything in life, okay? What no one talks about is how quickly this mindset can be harmful or even detrimental to our mental wellness, just because holding so tightly onto this concept of having to be positive and optimistic about almost every situation all the time is so impossible. This concept, or rather this mentality, can prevent us from acknowledging and addressing the not so nice parts of our emotions, which is the negative ones, right? Creating like a whole facade of happiness that masks a lot of underlying issues that perpetuates like a cycle of self-deception, which can lead to us building up a lot of resentment, anxiety, and fear. And if you are someone who finds yourself beating yourself up whenever things don't go your way and you're just upset, or you start spiraling into negativity, thinking of like a worst case scenario, but at the same time, you also feel like you need to practice positive thinking and you're just so conflicted. You don't know what to do, right? It's like the devil and angel sitting on your shoulders, fighting for your attention, and you do not know who to listen to. I've been there, matter of fact, just 2 weeks back, which is why I had to mention this again, because as much as I have a self-help podcast and I have been on this self-development journey for about 5 years now, going 6, you would think that I don't ever feel stuck, or I don't ever find myself stuck in a situation where I'm just so negative, right? Sorry to burst your bubble, I still do, and I said it before, but I'll say it again. It is normal, okay? If you can totally relate, what I want you to know is that these negative emotions are part and parcel of your life. It's okay to feel sad, angry, or frustrated, sometimes just wanting to let all your emotions out. Understand that these emotions are a normal part of your life and remove that quote-unquote everything is fine facade. It's only a temporary solution for you to feel better, because the last thing I want you to be doing is to think that because you are not supposed or not allowed to feel any forms of negativity when shit hits the fan, okay? That is not what we want. Therefore, you try to kind of suppress them. No, just please don't do that. From today on, I want you to reprogram your mind to this concept instead. It is actually better for you to allow yourself to sit with your emotions, the positive and especially the negatives, and feel into them, okay? Learn from them, because whenever we feel certain emotions, it's because our subconscious mind is trying to tell us something. This is something that I really love. This concept, whenever I feel certain emotions, whether it's positive or negative emotions, I would always ask myself, what is it that is my subconscious mind wanting to tell me? Why and how? Remember in episode 51, I talked about the cycle of life, where everything starts from a thought, which then affects your emotions and actions and eventually manifests into your reality. This is why it's important to ask yourself, what are these emotions trying to tell me, right? This is a really important question that I need you to ask yourself whenever you're feeling any form of emotions. While you allow yourself to sit with them, no matter how uncomfortable it gets, and feel through it. Allow yourself to feel through it. This is super important, okay? Because remember, the only way to get to the other side of anything, be it from negative to acceptance, from sadness to freeing, from mistakes to lesson learned, is to walk right through it. And that means is to sit in the discomfort and allow yourself to feel every single bit of the emotion, and know that you'll gain new knowledge and skill set to get to the other side and not ignore its presence, especially the negative ones, okay? It's not about being happy all the time, but about being authentic and accepting your entire emotional spectrum, okay? Instead of striving for constant positivity, focus on accepting your emotions and finding healthy ways to actually process them. And personally, I find journaling the best way to do it, but how you do it is the key, okay? So please watch episode 60 if you want to know how I do actually process my emotions, especially the negative ones, and get myself to a point whereby I was so frustrated when I was journaling, or the start of my journal session, all the way to the end of it, where I can at least find something to be grateful for, or at least I feel slightly better, okay? Now, and part of like processing your emotions is to cultivate a deep understanding of yourself by becoming acutely aware of you as a whole, okay? Self-awareness is like a mirror, reflecting your subconscious thoughts, feelings, and actions back to you, okay? Being self-aware allows us to see ourselves objectively without the filters of like denial or self-justification that may be hindering our progress. But the question is, why are there still people who struggle with being self-aware, right? If it's such a simple thing. That's because part of the process of practicing self-aware is to sit with discomfort. And that also means to step out of your comfort zone and be okay being uncomfortable. And this is where most of us pull back and put a hard stop on practicing self-awareness, because it is a part of our survival instinct that we have been taught by our parents or others unknowingly as we grow up, right? But it's important for us to address the tendency to avoid uncomfortable feelings and the importance of embracing them for personal growth. I know as humans, it is very natural for us to want to do whatever it takes to get out of the uncomfortable situation, even though they may be just what we need to move forward and level up in life. Like I said, but that is because we weren't taught how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situation, and this is something that I have to teach myself also, right? And the upsides of going through discomfort, no one tells you about that, because that is where all the lesson lies. We tend to avoid it at all costs and create this discomfort detector within us that scans for any potential discomfort or danger and move away from it by thinking of the worst case scenario, or even like going straight into the negativity even before we try things out. And this leads me to the importance of honest self-assessment, okay? Which are the mantras that we say to try to curb any discomfort we face in life. I don't know about you, but I used to be someone that have a lot of mantras for everything, for self-love, self-doubt, money, fear, etc. Basically, whatever negative emotions I'm facing or things that I'm actually working to be better at, I have a mantra for it, okay? And I'm not saying that mantras don't work. They do, which is also the reason why I share them on my Instagram and even to our live seasons inner circle. But if you were to look closely, the mantras that I share are very demure, very mindful, very cutesy, okay? Not like the other mantras that are out there just for the sake of it. Now, trendy jokes aside, what I'm saying is that I always make sure that the mantras I share are mantras that are of course tested and proven to work, and I'm very confident it will, because a lot of times we go into chanting mantras for the wrong reasons. And one of them is with the expectations that if you say it for long enough, it will manifest into a reality. But what no one tells us is that that is something that, which is also something I need to really discover myself, is that for mantras to work, you have to actually believe in it. And by that, I mean feeling into your gut type of belief, and not the, yeah, I kind of believe. But when probed, you kind of still have a lot of doubts and a lot of doubts in whatever type of desires that you desire through that mantra, right? Another part that I see most people doing it wrongly is the way the mantra is actually being phrased. It is usually a very broad mantra that does not actually help with anything because it's too broad and not targeted at whatever that is that you're trying to work on, okay? Let me give you an example. If money is an issue for you, you can't expect yourself to work on your money mindset by saying, money flows easily to me, money loves me, right? This is a very common money mantra that I've been hearing. I want you to try saying it now, right? Do you feel anything? Does it make you feel pumped up saying this sentence? It doesn't for me, okay? If it does for you, great for you, but it doesn't for me because it doesn't acknowledge the lack mindset that I have. It goes straight into the end goal of money not being a worry for you. And if you're a human, you'll know that there's a process to getting to everything, right? You can't just jump straight to the end goal without going through the process. And yes, however long the process takes, it is up to us on how fast we can actually tap into the feeling of embodiment, but it still requires a process. It still requires some time, okay? So with that said, instead of forcing yourself to believe money flows easily to you, money loves you, try saying, I'm thankful for the things that I have or own now. Then go ahead and list a few things that you can be grateful for, right? And if you are saying that you have nothing to be thankful for, come on, think again. Head to episode 62 and 27 to help you out, okay? I talk about the gratitude attitude a lot in my podcast episode because it's so important. But see how this mantra actually focuses on gratitude and finding examples that supports this statement, which makes it easier for your mind to believe because these are facts, okay? Then to kind of force yourself or your mind to take on the concept that you have yet seen results for or experienced in your life, it's super hard, okay? Our minds are constantly looking for evidence to support what we believe in. So if you ask me, I'd rather you start small and build your mantras than to repeat one with no emotions and no trust attached to it and just constantly repeating it, hoping that it's gonna come true. It's not gonna happen, alright? Another example is if you struggle with self-confidence, maybe it's your acne scars or just how your body looks like, saying I'm beautiful, I'm perfect, I'm accepted, is not, especially when you don't believe it, it will not make you feel any better, okay? No matter how many times you repeat it, you'll still see yourself as someone who is not perfect. And now this is facts, alright? So instead, try saying, I'm doing my best to be confident in my own skin and my best is more than enough. Where this mantra actually focuses a lot on the self-acceptance instead of trying to reach perfection. Because like I said in episode 16, self-love is self-acceptance. To be loved, you gotta first accept, okay? Another common mantra that I hear a lot is, you can be anything you want. Instead, I want you to try saying, I am capable of having everything I desire as long as I believe in it. So this mantra, we focus on trust in not only yourself, but in the universe, something that is bigger than you, okay? Now, the last one that I want to talk about, which is important, is instead of saying, failure leads to success, try saying, success is inevitable as long as I try my best and find the lesson in it. Again, focus on attaching success to attempting and finding the lessons, okay? Especially for this mantra, let me explain, because I feel that the definition of success can be skewed to what society sees success as, and if you don't meet that, you are deemed as a failure. I don't agree, which is why every time I use the word success, I would always add on whatever success looks like for you after, because I don't like the word failure, okay? I have mentally banned this word from my dictionary because my definition of failure is when you completely give up even before trying. So as long as you're still trying, doesn't matter how long, but as long as you give it a shot, yet you still end up not being where you want to be, I don't consider that as failure. I consider it as lesson learned, okay? To me, the role of failure is to provide us with a learning opportunity and not a reason for us to beat ourselves up and bring in doubts that is not helping our growth at all. But for the sake of simplifying things, I'm just going to use the word failure for now, okay? I need you to understand that failure is a natural part of the growth process. So embrace them and use them to improve your resilience. Having the ability to bounce back from setbacks is crucial to every growth journey, okay? All in all, don't use broad mantras to convince yourself to say things that you don't believe in. It's not about convincing yourself and repetition. It's about the feelings attached to the mantra and making sure it serves a purpose, an important one, okay? If your subconscious can't accept what you think or what you want it to think, no matter how many times you repeat it, you won't see a change. So it is okay to tweak these mantras however you want. Come up with your own mantras to make sure that it brings out the emotions that you want to manifest, whatever that you desire, and it's easy for you to remember, okay? Super important that it's easy for you to remember. When you're working on your mantras, don't be afraid to dive deeper into what feels good and start small. Notice how your body feels when you say it, right? I personally like to keep it short and make sure I really embed this into my mind. Have fun with it. That's the whole point, is to have a mantra that can help you snap yourself out of any negative situations that you find yourself and allow yourself to not go into the rabbit hole of negativity, okay? And this is where introspection comes into play. It is a process of examining your inner world, identifying your beliefs, values, and motivations, okay? By understanding yourself on a deeper level, you can begin to dismantle the illusions that actually are holding you back, or your limiting beliefs, which are what I like to call them your barriers as well, okay? And barriers usually come into play when we are setting goals, and with that, there is a common word that I like to call bullshit on, and that is realistic. Okay, I hate the word realistic, and you probably hear like set realistic goals, be realistic when it comes to what you want to achieve or desire in life. Not for me. No, I don't like to use the word realistic simply because I do not believe in the concept of being realistic with your desires or when you are setting goals that is subjected to your current reality. And I mentioned this in episode 10, I think, that your current reality is not your future. So using whatever that you have experienced so far in life is not a good gauge of what your future can look like. Okay, simply put, whatever you desire you are made to desire it for a reason, and I believe this so strongly. Okay, feel free to kind of take on this mindset as well, that whatever you desire, you are capable of achieving it. The you in the future has it, and therefore need your current self to get there. And to get there, you have got to remove all the blockages that you have both mentally and physically in your current reality to get to where you want to be, okay? Let me explain, and this is for my visual people. Here's how you can look at it. You are currently down here, which is at the bottom, which is where your current reality and whatever that have gotten you here so far, you are right here, right? And you want to get there, which is up here, which is your goals and your desires. Whatever that is in between are what I like to call your barriers, okay? Whatever that is keeping you from getting from where you are right now to where you want to be, everything that is in between are your barriers, the ones that is stopping you from getting there, right? And this includes both physical and mental barriers. Now you may ask, what are you even talking about? Let's go deeper into this. Starting with our physical barriers, it includes the people whom you spend the most time with that is not really helping your growth, but worse, they actually contribute to your negative beliefs because you take on theirs. People who suck your energy and you feel so drained after every hangout with them. It can be both friends, families, or even co-workers, right? Physical barriers can also include your habits that hinders your growth. Maybe it's spending hours consuming social content that end up leaving you feeling insecure, or a sense of imposter syndrome where you start comparing yourself to others. And if this is something that you recognize, please go back to episode 35 where I talked about the concept of comparison and how toxic it can be, okay? So now you may ask, what about mental barriers? And this is where most of us actually fall at. Mental barriers are your limiting beliefs and subconscious thoughts, stories that no longer serves you, but you're still holding on to them out of like fear and doubts, right? One of the significant barrier to personal growth and mindset change is we tend to seek comfort in blaming external factors for our problems and refusing to take responsibility for our own actions. Why? Because we think that by portraying ourselves as victims, we avoid the discomfort of confronting our own shortcomings and limitations. I want you to understand that being in the victim mentality can hold us back from achieving a lot of our goals, right? Know the importance of taking ownership of our actions and choices, and this involves recognizing that while we may face a lot of challenges in life, we also have the power to influence our circumstances and shape our own destiny. This is super important. I really want you to understand this, right? You have the power to influence your circumstances, whatever that it is right now. Whatever environment that you're in right now, you can always shape it, and you can always have the power to change it. Instead of focusing on what's gone wrong, try to identify the steps you can take to improve your current situation. Remember, you have the power to create the life that you want. Everything is a choice, and that itself, understanding that even in the most difficult situation or circumstance that you're in, you have choices. Okay, now that is power. Now, since we're on the topic of mindset, I want to take some time to kind of recognize the fast-paced world that we are in right now. Most of the things around us happen so instantly. Companies are, working hard to make our lives easier, faster, more convenient. To name a few examples, Amazon Prime is one of them, Uber is one of them, DoorDash is one of them. These are actually services that literally get us anything we want within a very short period of time, which leads us to craving a lot on instant gratification, right? We want things now without putting in the effort. The truth is, Success takes time, a lot of patience, and work in progress, simply because what got you here won't get you there, and there being your desired future. Now, societal expectations can really contribute to a lot of like the unrealistic expectations that we have, and why we have this culture of entitlement, which actually leads us to believing that success should come easily and quickly. A lot of them falls under how it's being portrayed on social media, right? Which is so far from the truth. No success is ever quick or easy. I want you to understand that, because part of what makes success feels good is the process, and that means the ability to learn the importance of patience, perseverance, and delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is so important for us to take on. Being patient with yourself and the universe, learning know when to kind of slow down and when you're ready to go full force is also very important. And if you are asking how or when to know when you should go full force, I advise you listen to episode 30, where I walk you guys through the concept I preach a lot about, and that is letting go of control, learning how to attach, detach, and surrender, which will play a huge part of helping you to take on and understand this delayed gratification mindset. So please check that out, okay, if you don't know what gratification or delayed gratification is all about. Now, alright, I hope I have kind of encouraged you to challenge the status quo and question what you've been told. It's about finding what works best for you, not blindly just following popular teachings that you might have picked up along the way. So from today on, please adopt a more authentic approach to self-improvement, and that will lead you to a path of genuine growth and fulfillment, okay? Let's make it a point to break free from the chains of self-deception and just toxic behavior or toxic positivity, right? Stop bullshitting yourself. It's time to embrace the complexities of our emotions and cultivate self-awareness while you're at it, okay? Remember, your journey is unique. Everyone's journey is unique. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to self-improvement. What works for one person might not work for another. Just the same thing for me. What works for me might not work for you. So I want you to take this time to find out what works best for you, okay? True growth lies in authenticity, self-compassion, and a delayed gratification mindset. So that's all for today's episode. Until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep being yourself, okay? As usual, if you have any burning questions or topics that you want me to cover, please drop me a DM on Instagram at our live seasons, or comment on whichever platform that you're listening to this so I can get back to you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!